Are you ready to listen to my dad Joe and Uncle Justin talk about sports? Now on with the show.
The Joe Mays and J-Raff Show is brought to you by Mays Sandwich Shop, which have been serving the greater West Lawn area delicious food for over 70 years. You are listening to the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show.
Boring.
A weekly podcast about sports since 2011.
Don't you ever get tired of being wrong all the time?
With a focus on football.
36-yard line of Philly. Shotgun snap to Hurts. Dropping back. Only one person rushing. Hurts looking, standing still, winding up. Long pass. It lands at the 20. No one is there. Zeros on the clock. It's over. It's over. The Chiefs have won. The Chiefs have won Super Bowl 57 on a game-winning field goal. Trailing at 10. At the halftime stop, 24-14, they go on to win 38-35. What a game.
Now, here are your hosts, Joe Mays and Justin Raffoff.
Woohoo, indeed. Welcome everybody to episode. What are we at, Justin? Is this 389? I think we're 389.
You know what number we're closing in on?
409.
Yes.
That's when we're going to have Audrey Snyder on the show.
Speak it into existence.
Speak it into existence. 20 episodes from now, Justin, which honestly will probably be next December. At the rate we go with the show because of the Bulldog Hour.
Well, you know what? That would be great. We could do transfer portal news, bowl preview.
College football playoff 12-team inaugural game preview with Audrey Snyder. Yes, speak it into existence. You're right. Let's get it going there. But
Tony, she can come to WYO and do her her piece on the WYO lineman pipeline to Penn State.
Right, yeah. Javen Williams, Caleb Brewer. Who's next? Who's stepping up? So, welcome to the show, and I'm one of your hosts, Joe Mays. Here with me, as always, is my co-host, Justin Raffoff. We are talking NFL Week 15. We may talk a little bit at Penn State, as there's some coaching news that has happened today. Well, I don't think it's official yet, but it sounds like it's moving in that direction.
It broke, and then, it kind of released, that's what everyone's been hearing. So, a lot of people heard it, and
the team won't make it an announcement until I think I almost said school board. The what do they call that?
Trustees.
Yeah. The board of trustees has to do, and they might have an emergency session where they approve the contract of a new defensive coordinator for Penn State football. And I do like your idea, Justin, that he has to renounce all ties to the 2020 Indiana football team and say definitively that Michael Penix was down in overtime and out of bounds. Not down, out of bounds.
Right, he was out of bounds. He was short.
Conversion.
Yes.
Tom Allen?
Yeah, Tom Allen.
Early 50s, but 7-year head coach for the Indiana Hoosiers.
Right.
Had some success at times.
Yeah,
did
miss.
better, but kind
Tough
of
spot.
Consistently inconsistent, more often
Not
below average.
Not just
than
Indiana,
good.
but Indiana, who was stuck in the East in the Big Ten.
Right. Yeah, kind of had it going against them. Nothing going in their favor. But they were able to get some things going, and he was hired for his defensive prowess at previous stops before spending 7 years in Indiana. But it is expected that he will be the next defensive coordinator at Penn State, taking over Manny Diaz, who has moved on to be the head coach at Duke. And did we talk? Yeah, we talked about Kotelnicki already.
A little bit, yeah.
Last week, I guess it was. So 2 new coordinators for Penn State. They will obviously use interim guys for the bowl game against the Peach Bowl, which one of the biggest things coming up recently is that Penn State's guys are playing.
Yeah,
in the Peach Bowl.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy, and they talk about that. But you know what? It goes hand in hand with something we talked about last week, that Penn State only had, as of last week, those numbers could have changed, but only had 3 guys in the transfer portal.
Right.
That's absurd in today's game.
And one was
absurd.
the backup punter with the starting punter back for 2 more years.
Right, and they got And just today we got a kicker.
A kicker, I saw that.
Transfer portal, and we also have got a kid who's going to bump up from D2, a lineman.
Offensive lineman, right?
Yeah. So, and there's rumors that Julian Fleming may be coming.
Yeah, I thought maybe
our way.
we'd get a little bit more movement in that regard, but not.
That's an interesting one.
So.
I did like the one tweet I saw was like, can't wait for Julian Fleming to go off next year, and then when he's making it big in the pros, when he does his like Sunday Night Football intro, like he says like Penn State, yeah.
Well, and I know some people are kind of like,
yeah.
He
Don't get me
spurned us
wrong.
the first time.
Right.
Like, why would we want him now? I'm like, I don't really care about that. Was I disappointed?
Yes.
Absolutely, because
But
he's
guess what?
in-state talent.
And guess what? If he comes here and it works out,
it's all that matters.
it's great and it looks good.
Yeah.
Like it looks good. Like, hey,
Well, I texted to you. I was like, I don't care.
It's a different scale, but it's very, very similar to how we used to quasi joke about Nick Singleton and be like, look, as soon as he steps on campus at Penn State, I hope nothing but the best for that kid.
Yes, absolutely.
And the same will be true for Julian Fleming. If he comes to Penn State. If he comes to Penn State, I wish nothing but the best for him.
I hope he can step out of Marvin Harrison Jr.'s shadow and become the guy that everyone thought he was.
Right.
He was the number one wide receiver recruit in the nation, right? Wasn't he number 3 overall?
He was, possibly. Oh, no, sorry. I had it mixed with Harrison.
Harrison was a year after him, wasn't he?
Yes, and Harrison's year was the year, and somebody said, like, well, Franklin should go out and get the guy. And Franklin had the guy who was actually ranked ahead of Harrison, but got signed by the Pirates. Got drafted and signed by the Pirates, and he took right, and so like we lost out on
White,
him.
Right?
Yeah. So he'll probably get good, and then the Pirates will trade him. So
right, it's the cycle for the Pirates. So,
I guess we will talk Penn State, right?
Yeah, well, right off the bat. So we do want to put up our. Oh no, that's not it. Our little contact form. I was gonna try something new. Justin, I don't know if this is working or not. I guess I can pull it up and see. Instagram streaming, I'm not sure. It doesn't look like it's working.
Dude, I
wanted to try to go live on Instagram.
I am true
thought that
old
would be
man
fun,
with this stuff.
but it doesn't look like it's working. So I'll have to keep trying that. But if you'd like to contact us, that information is up there. If you're watching us live, if you're listening live or after the fact, Joe Mays and J-Raff at gmail.com, 215-315-3199, and then on across social media at Joe Mays and J-Raff. And if you could like the video on YouTube and subscribe to the channel on YouTube, as well as across social media and on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or anywhere that you can rate and review, we would love for you to do that for us. It helps us out in a big way. All right, so Justin, we are 8 days away from Christmas. So this is our last show of 2023. We will not be back on Christmas Eve, as we discussed last week, I believe. Very tempting to come back on New Year's Eve, though, with NFL. There's plenty of game action on New Year's Eve. There's bowl games. There's all kinds of stuff happening in and around that. But we're not going to do that, Maybe in a few years when it happens again, we can revisit the opportunity. But this is our last show until January 7th, 2024. That's crazy. Where we're at, 2024.
Well, just think, in 2 weeks' time, a little over 2 weeks' time, parts of 2020 are going to be 4 years ago.
Yeah, that's bonkers. Still trying to process
how has that
everything.
happened?
Right.
That doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense.
That's not how time works.
It's absurd. I don't even know. I don't even know what to say to that. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. So, but yeah, NFL Week 15. That's where we're at, and a kind of a wacky week. I feel like there were a few teams that were struggling that turned it around. Then there were a few teams that were looking really good that fell flat. There are a few teams that felt like they had very winnable games, that they're not great teams, but you still expected them to win, and they didn't. Looking at you, Atlanta, that's the biggest one. Maybe Green Bay, too.
Yeah, I was starting to think, because I think we talked about this. I picked Atlanta in the South, I think, and I was like, oh, man. And I'm just, man, they're so bad. And, man, Ritter is not the answer there, I don't think.
It doesn't seem to be. No, it's not looking good for him.
And I
right
know,
now.
I know coaching there is fine, but like, man, do they not use their weapons? Now, maybe the weapons aren't good enough, which is an indictment on the front office. But man, they just don't get those guys the ball, and I think something like I don't know. I'm trying to think. Bijan Robinson and Pitts and maybe London, had like combined like 15 touches today or something like that.
Bijan Robinson had 0.4 fantasy points.
Oh, I'm aware. I had him playing
him?
over Gibbs in one of my leagues.
Ouch.
Yeah. Now in another league, I had Gibbs in, so that was good.
Yeah, give or take. Good with the bad.
Yeah, exactly.
So, well, let me pull up the schedule here, and we'll jump game to game. I guess first up, I probably don't have a lot to say. That Thursday night game was ugly.
Although, so the only thing I would have to really say about that is the coaching ramifications. We knew Staley was gone anyway, and after a performance like that, he had to go.
Yeah, well, I saw an article in The Athletic about that he was seen as the defensive Sean McVay,
right.
And he was this young prodigy and all
Right.
this stuff. And I guess the whole article kind of called him arrogant. That
Yeah.
kind of
I saw that. Is that the one that's like it talked about like the line between like arrogance and like confidence or something like that, and like
yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
And now they kind of hedged a bit, and they were like, to be fair, to succeed in this league, you kind of have to be.
We talk about that all the
that
time.
way.
Like you have to
You have to be that type A personality,
Right.
like the overwhelming. But when you're good, that's fine. That's what you want to see from not only your coaches but your players.
How
too.
different is it if they win that playoff game last year?
Yeah, who knows?
And not just losing it, but the way they lost it. You know, and they haven't been right since. And you can argue that they still would have been what they are this year because, like, it's, you know, it's just the Chargers are going to Charger. They're the second-rate team in LA. You know, like it's just it's a problem.
I am hoping for a new coach bounce back for the Chargers this week. It would mean a lot.
Who do they play this week?
The Bills.
Oh, there you go.
In LA.
There you go.
Because I wanted to text you because Buffalo was just pissing me off all day today. I hate Josh Allen with a fiery passion.
Oh man, this Dolphins Bills down to the wire thing is going to be
Buffalo
awesome.
Bills are a disgrace. They're going to be exposed. So see, this is the roller coaster ride that fans take, and like I've been going on it all season as a Dolphins fan.
We're
We
both
talk
on
about
it.
all the
We're
time as
both
an
on
Eagles
it.
fan.
We're buckled in on our roller coaster
You're your
ride.
team's biggest supporter when they're doing good, but also the biggest cynic when they're you have like you're a Jekyll and Hyde for your team at all times. When you're at the top of the roller coaster and happy,
I hope for the best, expect the worst all the time.
well,
all the time.
But that's where Buffalo is climbing that ladder again.
Right.
But they're going to come crashing down because everyone's like, man, Bills, when they make the playoffs, they're going to be dangerous, right? Because it's worked out so well for them the last 3 years, 4 years, whatever.
Right.
I mean, they should never have lost to Cincinnati at home last year in the fashion they did. They got absolutely obliterated. They should have lost to Miami the week before with a third-string quarterback.
Right.
So, and they changed coordinators. They have technically a new offensive and defensive play callers this season. One, what we knew about before the year. The other just happened recently because there was something wrong. There's still something wrong. The team that beat Dallas the way today that's peak Buffalo.
Yeah.
That is when everything's going right.
Yeah.
But that doesn't happen for football teams all the time.
Yep, I agree.
And the team doesn't have 6 losses for no reason. It's not like Josh Allen was injured and missed games.
They weren't 11th coming in the AFC coming into today because of everything went right.
All of a sudden, you're telling me a team that is not even in the playoffs right now, still
right.
is the AFC favorite.
And I don't know that they control their own destiny.
They don't.
Right. They need help.
They need help.
Now, you get to 10 wins, it's likely.
Well, they can get to 11 wins.
If you get to 11 wins, it's likely you're going to get the help you need.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Now, I mean, a few weeks ago, the Week 18 game in Miami didn't look like it was going to matter. But then Miami choked against Tennessee on Monday, and Buffalo now beat
a game that
Kansas
would have been,
City and Dallas.
Right.
back to back. So they made it interesting. And Miami has a much tougher schedule the next 3 weeks than the Bills do.
Right.
Miami hosts Dallas on Christmas Eve, goes to Baltimore on New Year's Eve.
I'm going to need you to win that one.
And hosts the Bills in week 18. The Bills go to the Chargers this week, host the Patriots, and then go to Miami. See, that's the thing. Right now, all the Bills fans and all the Bills supporters, not like their fans, but like even like Ross Tucker is like, better be careful about the Bills.
Everyone, dude, everyone.
And
everyone.
I'm just cannot roll my eyes.
Now, to be fair, if the Bills were to win out and get to 11 games, I personally would have trouble in that same thing, not jumping onto the I don't want to face them right now. Like I probably would fall into that.
Right, but I think we've seen that every year, and it never.
No, we have, and you called it a month and a half ago. You called it a month and a half ago. You called the Bills coming up. We were talking about it, maybe not on the show, but I know we were talking about it, and it might have been on the show when the Bills were in that skid. It might have been after the Eagles beat them, and you were like, yeah, they're down, but like they're going to come back up, and everybody will jump on, and everyone will be you're. So just to clarify for everyone else, it's not like you're just calling it when you think they're going to come back to earth. You were calling it that they were going to rise. Like you're calling it the roller coaster that it is.
They were better than their record.
Absolutely.
Like
should have been.
They should have been better than their record, but they are what their record is. So I'm saying if they put it together, they could make a run, which is
Denny
what we're
Green.
seeing now.
They are who we thought they were.
However, but I'm also saying, just wait. They're also the team that lost the 6 games.
Right.
And we've also seen people ripping on Josh Allen.
And found ways to lose. And
maybe
to the Eagles. They found a way to lose to the Eagles.
Hey, maybe they'll run the table, including beating Miami in the last week. And if Miami loses one of their other 2 games, Buffalo wins the division.
Right.
Because they'll both be 11-6.
Right.
And Buffalo will beat Miami twice. Miami will be 4-2 in the division, whereas the Bills will be, I think, 3-3. Because they lost to the Patriots, they lost to the Jets. Oh no, they'd be 4-2 then as well. Because they would have to beat New England.
Right.
They're 1-1 against the Jets, 1-0 against the Dolphins at the moment, and 1-0 against 0-1 against the Patriots. But they have to beat New England and they'd have to beat Miami. So they would both be 4-2.
But imagine losing to the Jets and the Patriots, but beating the Dolphins twice.
Right. Well, there's Miami's 4-0 against the Patriots and Jets, but lost to the Bills. So, would that be disappointing? Yeah, it would be disappointing that it ends up that games in Tennessee cost you the division and a top 4 seed, top 3 seed probably. Right. But if you don't beat the Bills, like it kind of would be shallow to me anyway.
Right, you get them at home, but here you go. What if you beat them in Week 18, and then you have to play them again in the?
But it would be
playoffs.
In Miami.
No, I agree.
Again, twice.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't want to focus just on the Bills. But watching that game was infuriating.
No, I loved every second of that
I know you did. And if I needed Dak to win my fantasy game, which it doesn't appear I will.
Oh, I did. I'm going to lose one in part because Dak.
But you'll
Tony
take
Pollard.
it. I think you'll take it.
Yes, just like in that same one. So like I had Dak. Oh man, doink.
Did he miss it?
Yep. I have Dak and Pollard, and I'm currently up 12. Right. My dad had to stick with. He stuck with him, but he has Hurts in tomorrow night. Doesn't know if he's going to play or not. But he also has Devontae Smith. But like I'm up 12, right? He has Hurts and Smith left. Okay. And I also told him at like 12:40 that hey, Chris Olave is not going to play. He didn't know. Like he knew he was questionable, but like he had been ruled out. And I was like, hey, Chris Olave is not going to play. So like I told him. So I would gladly have Hurts throw 5 touchdowns to Devontae Smith tomorrow. Me get smoked in that fantasy football matchup, and in that league, my season be done. If it means the Eagles win tomorrow, like no doubt about it. I'll take a big Eagles win over the fantasy win. Like that's what we'll do.
Excuse me. So my uncle texted me, Josh Allen's your new Tom Brady. I was like, you might have to be. You might have to be. See, but the thing is, Josh Allen has done nothing to compare anywhere remotely close to Tom Brady. So that's in terms of Super Bowl and cheating scandals. So either way.
See,
Josh
I was
Allen,
trying to think of how I was going to work it in,
Josh
and you
Allen-
did it for me.
Josh
I
Allen
love it.
hasn't gotten
I
there
love
yet.
it.
We'll see.
Oh gosh.
I loved. I immediately was all over that as soon as he drew that flag for personal foul for roughing the passer. I was like, that was a flop,
No way. Absolutely.
and it was 100% a flop. And then Taylor Rapp tried to take Dak's head off, and I had someone arguing with me that he didn't touch him. I'm like, yes, he did. He didn't touch him with the helmet, but he hit him, and it should have been a penalty. And Zach Martin turned it into a penalty because I don't think they were going to throw the flag until Zach Martin tried to go after Taylor Rapp, and then they flagged both of them, which I get. Like, you
Right,
can't
right,
do that,
right.
but I also understand why he did that.
Right.
So, yeah, I just like I can't. I really don't. I really can't stand Josh Allen. Like I just can't. And it is 100% because he plays for the Bills.
Oh,
and if he
I
played
get
for
it.
the Patriots, like it's the same thing.
Right.
If he played somewhere else, I wouldn't care.
Right, like if
it
he-
just wouldn't matter.
Right. Like if he played for the Vikings.
Yeah,
you-
I'm just like
right.
whatever.
Oh,
Like
okay.
I don't care.
Right.
Like who? Like whatever. Like there'd be some stuff that he does that I do
I
like.
feel
There
like
should be
Josh.
stuff
I
that.
feel like Josh Allen would be a very Vikings quarterback.
Yeah, I can
Like,
see that. I
yeah,
can see that.
yeah.
But it's just I just can't. Like I need to move on. I just can't talk about Josh Allen and the Bills anymore. No penalty there.
Well, he didn't. I don't think so. But they also 96 there on the end. I think grabbed him by the face mask as he went around the edge.
Oh, how's that not a penalty? He didn't. The ball wasn't deflected, was it?
No. I think that's what they're saying. Is it
And that's not a flop. He took out both his legs.
right.
Okay, officiating. It's been on par
it's-
all
yeah.
season. It's been great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't even. We were talking Thursday night game and somehow. I
Oh
brought
yeah,
up
yeah.
Josh
Coaching,
Allen.
coaching,
Coaching.
Chargers done, but also the other piece of
because
that.
they play the Chargers. this
I
week, right?
think the Raiders. It came out that he regrets like Bisaccia not hiring Bisaccia. Now that's easy to do when the hire didn't work out after that, but does that turn into hiring the interim this time? I don't know, and
See,
I
feel
don't.
like that's an overreaction. You have to go through the process, and I know they technically
I agree.
still have to go through the process, but they could also just be phony. Like most of it, like
Like
NFL
all of it.
owners know
All
who they're
of it.
going to hire.
Right.
Like they
Right.
don't have to do. Like I
Right.
feel like it's very rare that the owners don't know who they're going to hire.
Right. But it'll be interesting. On the other hand, he can't do worse
Than the last 25 years.
Right.
Since who was the coach when they went to the Super Bowl? Who was it? Callahan?
It was Callahan because Callahan took over when
When Gruden went.
Gruden left.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, 63-21 is not a great look. Raiders. This is first time in NFL history, or at least since the merger Super Bowl era, that two teams scored 63 or more points in a season.
After the Raiders were shut out the week before.
Right. That's got to be the biggest. Someone's got to be able to look that up. What's the biggest point swing?
Right. Well, and how about my favorite moment from the game, and I did not see it. I had long turned it off. Was Austin Eckler getting the touchdown when they were, or getting the first down when they were down like 56-0 or something like that. Eckler gets the first down and signals first down on the run.
Oh God,
Now,
you know how much I love that
I
stuff.
think he was doing it
Like
out of like
in a joke,
frustration,
like,
right? Like
what else am I gonna do?
right? Like that's what I'm gonna tell myself because like
Well, literally every game, college, high
Oh.
school, college, pro, and that's all trickle down. That's all because
Oh, yeah.
idiots in the pros.
see it
did
everywhere.
So the college started doing it. Now the high school kids do it. I'm like, you are losing by 21. Well, I mean, that game was even worse. Like, I don't care that you made a tackle. I don't care that your catch went for a first down.
Right.
You are getting blown out.
Right.
What are you? All you're saying is, I made a good play.
it's okay to be excited when you make a good play. Celebrating is different. Like
Context and situation matters.
right.
Also, like, don't do it at the beginning of the game either. Like, no one cares.
I know you love when fans are chanting like that's too easy
Scoreboard
or things
Scoreboard.
like
My
in
favorite,
the first quarter.
First quarter up 7-0. Scoreboard. Shut up. Shut up.
Man, we're getting Joey on a roll
Yeah.
on like lots of things tonight.
Just know that because I know I'm gonna have a good day tomorrow. Tomorrow is a good day.
Well, so I was gonna say, what do you wear Victory Monday, or is it like Christmas, or is it like
I'm
is
debating.
it a
I'm debating
mashup
what
of
to
the
do.
two?
It's probably a mashup. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I might go Victory Monday with some Christmas socks and a hat. My Philly Santa hat. You know, I love that hat. I think it's been close to 20 years now with that hat. So, well, it's from my late aunt. It was one of the last gifts she got from me. So, it's kind of a whole bunch of sentimentality attached to it. So, and I only wear it from after Thanksgiving up until New Year's. So you got to get like a good 5 weeks out of it. So I'll make sure that I wear that. Haven't decided on Victory Monday or not, because I hate skipping over the Christmas shirts because I only get to wear them so often. Because despite what you say, I do not start wearing Christmas
you beat me to it. You beat me to it
at Halloween or
I was
going to
say, yeah, you only have a good 2.5, 3 months to get them in.
No, I abstain from wearing the clothing until after Thanksgiving, mostly because I have Halloween shirts. I have Thanksgiving shirts too. So, you know, I stay true to the season there. In terms of decorating the house, though, that's a little bit different. Christmas is a season. Halloween and Thanksgiving are days. I know there's a lot of people that argue with me about Halloween. Although we were on with your hot takes a couple months ago.
Halloween's overrated.
Halloween is not your thing.
It's overrated. I enjoy taking the kids trick-or-treating. I enjoy the Halloween parade. That's it. The rest of it, I can leave it.
Where do you fall with the people who put up Halloween decorations and then change them to be Christmas decorations, as in skeletons wearing Santa hats?
I think it's ridiculous. However, I'm kind of in the spirit of, hey, do what makes you happy. I also am. If I had to put up a 30-foot skeleton outside my house, and subsequently take it down and find a place to store it, I'd probably be like, hey, we're leaving that up through Christmas, and we're going to decorate it.
Honestly, I'm at the point where leave it up all year.
Yeah.
Just change everything. Put bunny ears on it.
I was going to say, well, next.
Dress it up like a leprechaun.
I was going to say, you can, Cupid,
yep.
Right? Cupid.
Have it holding a heart.
In March, you can do St. Patrick's Day. Mm-hmm. Then you have Easter Bunny.
They got a bit of a lull then, especially because Easter's early this year. March 31st is Easter. And then you don't really have anything that jumps out to me. I don't know what you could do for Mother's Day. I don't think you're doing anything for Mother's Day. Memorial Day, you know, it would be all encompassing Memorial Day through Labor Day, like all summer.
Right.
Like put a bathing suit on them and have an American flag.
Yeah.
Then you're good to go. Right. But see, then you're back all the way into fall. Now you can start giving them pumpkins.
Because you can do that through Labor Day.
Right.
You can do that through Labor Day. And then it's
May 1st through
Labor
season. Day is bathing suits and American flags.
Right.
And then as soon as Labor Day's over, you're in the fall, so you can put non-jack-o'-lantern
So like,
pumpkins,
wow, I think it's ridiculous. I get it.
I can understand.
Because where are you going to put that?
Right. You know, friend of the show, Chad Henney.
Oh yeah.
His wife has put up a few skeletons. I've heard around the home. I think we should let her know that that's what she should do.
Yeah, I'm sure.
These are not skeletons just for.
I'm sure Chad will appreciate that.
Right, I think Chad would absolutely love if we decided to.
Well, on the other hand, if Chad has to take them down and find a place for them, Chad might be on board with the let's leave them up.
Leave them up, yeah. So that's the next thing that we will send Mr. Henney's way. That we have the grand idea for decorating of his home. And I think Brittany will get on board. I'm sure the kids will too.
I feel like we should bring some and like have them like peeking over the stands at Gursky, with like Wilson hats on and stuff like that.
What's the worst thing that could happen? What's the worst that could go on? All right, yeah, we're all over the place tonight. But 3 games yesterday. Natalie was saying all like Thursday, Friday. She was like triple header tomorrow, and I was
That's awesome.
Like, what are you talking about? She's like, there's 3 football games on tomorrow. I'm like, yeah, you're right. There are 3 games on tomorrow, and 3 in like not going up against anything else, so you can just watch those games.
My dad was like, "Oh man, they're all on the NFL Network." I was like, "No way." They were, and it didn't matter.
I pulled up the guide at 1:00 for Vikings Bengals, and I was like, "What channel is this on?" And I'm like, "Well, it's not on any of the." She's like, "Check NFL Network." I'm like, "Okay." 860.
Natalie keeping you in line.
There it is.
Like,
yeah, she knew
you'd
all
be
about
lost
it.
without her.
I would be lost without her. So last birthday, almost a year ago now, I got her like a Kids Sports Illustrated football book, like not like an introductory to football, introductory to NFL, but it was like a stats and history book. And she was quizzing us. Like,
yeah,
she came on the show.
That was awesome.
Well, she was doing it again today.
Oh, that's so cool.
Just for me. and Kelly here, and then we did my dad's and my birthday dinner tonight, and she brought it there,
Oh,
and she was reading it to us there. So at one point, I went to the bathroom and came out, and I was just destroying my dad. I was beating him I was up 7-2 in this. All of a sudden, he rattles off 3 in a row, and I'm like, okay, all right, making it interesting. Well, the next question is, who set the record for most rushing touchdowns over 40 yards in a single game? I'm like, oh man, racking my brain. And my dad and I throw out a few names, and Dad's like, no. And if we are struggling, we'll ask for a year or a team.
Right.
Because once that usually happens, we can get it. We didn't do any of that. And we got to the 4th name, and he's like, Doug Martin. And she's like, that's right. And I'm like, oh, hold on. There's treachery afoot here. I knew right away. I was like, when I went to the bathroom, you looked at the book. I called him out on it. I don't even know if he's listening. He hasn't texted me at all. He's hiding.
This reeks of capture the flag at Memorial Day weekend a year and a half ago.
Kind of.
I feel like this has. I think you nailed it. Treachery afoot.
Yeah. Well, he's pulling out his inner New England Patriot, and it's only good because I know Uncle Rich is listening, so that's why it makes it so much better. I'm just waiting for for him, for both of them. I can't believe my dad's not. He probably fell asleep on the couch, isn't even listening to the show. Oh no, here it is. He's laughing. He's laughing because he knows he's such a cheater. He is such a. I was like, oh, look, I'll give you there were questions he was Jim Brown and Eric Dickerson, and I was getting some of those old guys from the 50s, 60s. So I was throwing out there.
I can see this happening. You get up and walk away, and he's like.
I'm going to see the next 5 questions. I'm going to memorize. Right. Well, Natalie didn't know. That was the thing. She had walked away, too. So, she went somewhere, I don't know, to get another drink. I went to the bathroom. She shut the book down. He grabbed the book and, was thinking. And he was good because the first 3 that we did after I came back were ones that I'm like, he would know that. You know that player, that stat. That's not bad. I was like, okay. All right, he's making this interesting. And then, as soon as he said Doug Martin, I was like, no. Shenanigans. No way are you pulling Doug Martin out. Who would you have guessed that?
No, never.
No, because every time they bring up it's a running back, I'm like Emmitt Smith, Barry Sanders, and we see Jim Brown, Eric Dickerson, Earl Campbell. Right. We're running through all these. Marshall Falk, Edgerrin James,
or honestly, Derrick Henry, because he's had some of those monster runs,
Terrell Davis.
Yeah.
We were because there's sometimes it's just Super Bowl, sometimes
I'm running through who I think of when I think of Hall of Fame
running
guys.
Right, that's exactly what we're doing. And then he's just he's sitting there, and he's like, Doug Martin, and I'm like, no way. I was like, you can't even tell me what college Doug Martin went to. And that he proposed to his girlfriend after the Statue of Liberty play where Boise State beat Oklahoma. That was him, wasn't it?
I didn't know that he was the Boise State guy.
I thought that was him.
Oh, I don't know. I thought that was a different guy.
Oh, maybe I am. Jared Zabransky was the quarterback, right?
Gosh,
he's on the cover of College Football.
Yes, he is.
Which comes back this summer.
Man.
And sooner than that, Dad and Uncle Rich will be playing college football and talking about, I guess, baseball. We'll see. But, all right. Yeah, laughing about cheating. So, anyways, the Bengals beat the Vikings in overtime. Vikings choked that game away. They were up 17-3 in the fourth quarter. And then in overtime, they failed the tush push not once but twice.
Right.
And the Bengals capitalized.
And again, we've talked about this enough, but it just goes to show it's not automatic. It's harder than it looks. And defenses have adjusted. Defenses have really crammed down. It's not automatic. I will give people it is not a pretty play, 100%. And they can look into it. They can do all that stuff. That's fine. But in terms of automatic, it is not automatic. But yeah, man, talk about failing. And honestly, they were at a spot where they could have tried a long field goal to begin with. Man, that's Vikings find a way to lose.
Yeah. I might be wrong about that. That might not have been Doug Martin. I'm trying to look it up here. I'll have to keep searching. I thought it was him. I guess I'm just confusing him with just Boise State in general. Because I think he played at Boise State after that game. He was at Boise State from 2007 to 2011. So what year was it? It would have been, I guess, early in that
Yeah. So,
So when did they play
Boise
Oklahoma?
State.
It was Oklahoma, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, just look up Boise State player gets engaged.
Ian Johnson.
Ian Johnson. Sorry,
Yeah,
Doug
yeah,
Martin and Ian Johnson. I was shifted by a few years. My bad. Typical. That can sum up his career actually, right there.
Yeah. So Cincinnati though, big win.
Huge win. Huge win.
They're
for the Bengals.
still in it.
They're very much in it. And
I don't know how they can hang around. I mean, the defense is solid. Usually,
well, I feel like that's another
But-
they're fool's gold right now.
right?
I kind of feel that way about Houston too.
Yeah, except Houston finding a way to win today is huge because like they're going to get Stroud back at some point.
But
And
even with him though, they
No, I know.
lost to the Panthers. They
No, I agree.
lost to the Falcons.
I agree.
Like they're so. It's one of those I don't want to
but
get
like,
caught.
but look at that division. Look at the division. I'm not saying they're Super Bowl contenders. No. But like, look at the division. Jacksonville's there, but Jacksonville has lost a bunch of games they have no business losing. Like, they've already missed 2 field goals in this game.
Well, and the Bengals are in it because their friends to the east are struggling mightily. So Pittsburgh was the second game of the triple header yesterday, and they went up
man.
13
Lamar just threw a
nothing.
bad pick.
They went up 13. God, go Jacksonville. That would
That's
be
huge for you.
I wanted the Rams to beat them last week, and I got robbed of it on a they should have called block in the back.
I think it was the right no
You
call.
would. So, anyways, the Steelers scored 13 points. We're up 13-0, and then the Colts scored 30 unanswered to win it 30-13. The
Yeah.
Steelers look terrible right now.
Right.
Did you see George Pickens not block on that run that would have been a touchdown?
Yeah, and it's not the first time. He's done that multiple weeks.
So does Deontay Johnson.
Oh, that's who I was thinking of. Yeah.
So they have multiple receivers. They have a knack for drafting
Wide receiver
incredibly
drama
talented wide
in
receivers that
Pittsburgh.
are huge divas.
So here's you see things like this, and I can't imagine it happens. But this is, and people will call me crazy, but I was there. Like, I saw this. They wanted to run Cowher out too before he got the win. Like, before Big Ben came, they wanted to run him out. They were tired of him. They had run it, but like, that's not what the Steelers do. And then they won the Super Bowl, right? I know a lot of Steelers fans want Tom. They want Tom. Not that they don't like him, but it kind of has the feel that Reed had with the Eagles. Like, they just felt like it was time to move on.
Yeah, it might be better for both parties to move on.
That worries me a little bit because I feel like wherever he would go, I feel like it could be good for him too.
Wherever he ends up going.
Well, and players love him.
As soon as he's fired or resigns, and
Right.
mutually parting ways.
Right.
Well, how about worst nightmare? You know what I'm going to say.
I know. Please
New
don't.
England.
Oh gosh, that actually wasn't what I was.
What
I thought you were going to say Washington. For me,
Oh,
like Washington,
okay.
like
I mean,
no, New England. That would be terrible.
New England.
That would be terrible.
New England
But-
with a top 2 or 3 pick.
But imagine him going to New England. The Steelers fans. Oh my gosh. I know that that's not in their division, but they hate the Patriots too.
Who doesn't hate the Patriots? I am very excited to get to.
You know what?
Week
It's a
18.
healthy respect from me. Like,
it?
it's a healthy respect.
That's because you got a Super Bowl win over them,
Yeah, in the Super Bowl where Brady maybe played his best,
which
the Eagles still beat him.
came up in the trivia. It was what player holds the record for most passing yardage in a Super Bowl, and I was like Tom Brady.
Yeah.
In a loss,
Right.
to the Eagles,
Right.
And now I was like, yes, yes, I know. 17 season, 18 Super Bowl, 51, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 50 or 52.
52.
52.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I was like 50 was
50
the
was
15th
50
season,
was the
51
Broncos
16th
win.
season. Yeah. Broncos over Panthers.
Right.
Cam Newton also an answer today in trivia. Peyton Manning obviously an answer in trivia. It's got to be.
He's going to work his way in
He's
there.
going to work his way in there. Lamar Jackson an answer in trivia today. Chris Johnson answer.
Well,
in
how about
trivia
the?
today.
I was telling a kid
George Blanda
this week. I pulled out the Lamar Jackson is younger than Joe Burrow. even
That
though
was
he's
the
played
youngest player to win a playoff game, I think it was.
And-
And it took me a little bit to remember that it was Lamar.
And they were like, "Wait, what?" I was like, "Yeah."
And asterisk, this doesn't count anything last year or this year.
Right.
It was
right.
the 2022 edition, but it was printed in 2020, like after the 21 season. So anything that happened last year isn't included in this trivia that we've been talking about.
Yeah, but Lamar was one of those very young quarterbacks to come out.
So how about the nightcap of the triple header, though? Did you see Detroit
Yes.
boat racing the Broncos
Yes.
like that?
Yeah. So
Because Denver has been hot.
Denver
six
had
of their
been.
last 7 or something, like 5 of their last 6, something like
I
that.
picked Detroit,
So did I.
but man, and maybe this is me being nitpicky and stuff. I feel like Sean Payton, his demeanor on the sideline and like that scene where he's ripping,
Eviscerating
Russell Wilson, where it wasn't Russell Wilson. Like Russell Wilson didn't do anything wrong.
No, you're right.
He didn't throw the challenge flag when they scored a touchdown. Like, I just think like
Not a first down, Calvin.
people think Russell Wilson is the problem there. And I'm not saying he's the answer there, but Russell Wilson has played good enough for them this year. As the season has gone on, especially. But he, like, I don't know. Sean Payton, man, he's a weird dude. And he's one, okay, look at this. Like, is he one of those, like, what have you done outside of Drew Brees?
Yeah,
What have you done outside Drew Brees?
not much.
Right.
Not much. Well, honestly, the turnaround this year, though, after the start they had and how much
absolutely.
of a dumpster fire they were last year.
And he's doing fine, but like he like takes it out on Russell Wilson, but like what? I don't know. It's just weird. Russell Wilson is not his guy.
No, that was a weird marriage.
But then why do you go there?
Yeah,
Well, because they're giving you
all the money.
All the money.
Right, yeah. But Detroit, 42-17 over Denver. The Lions finally. They're another one of those teams that like they looked bad the last month.
yeah,
And
but
I
they're
think they're
sitting
1-3 or 2-2.
but they're sitting at 10-4.
Yeah.
And could easily end up the 2 seed.
Which is bonkers.
But that's a huge loss for the Vikings because the Lions ended up winning, and the Vikings still play the Lions twice yet. So like they had a shot at the division.
Well, what a perfect day perfect weekend for Detroit. All their other division teams lost.
Yeah, and
Some of them, and all in crappy fashion.
Green Bay looked.
Green
their
Bay-
defense looked bad.
How about? Well, we'll get to it. Sam Laporta, 3 touchdowns, my fantasy tight end. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 2 touchdowns, my fantasy wide receiver. Sorry, Dad.
The other playoff matchup in my family one is Austin and Jamie.
Ooh, how's that going?
Jamie is winning.
Is she going to win though?
I think so. I think so.
And how is Austin going to handle that?
I'll let her tell him.
Giants look terrible again. 24-6. Saints get the win there. They needed that to keep pace with the Buccaneers.
I'd be fine with the Giants falling into the like, hey, we're gonna try and lose a few now to improve our draft stock.
You think Dable's in trouble at all? Or you think because of the injury to Daniel Jones that
I don't think he is. I think the life that they have shown with DeVito, not saying DeVito's the answer for them, but the life that they have shown, I think buys him another year. The problem with
or
that
at least
is
half of a year.
the problem with that is you already have your $40 million quarterback for next year.
Yeah.
Or do you?
How about the end of the Bears-Browns game? Did you see that? That Hail
I didn't
Mary?
see it live. I saw it.
Well, I don't know
saw
if
it.
I saw it live either because I was
Well,
watching on Red Zone.
Right. I meant this will be random, but I was playing Risk at the time.
You were playing Risk?
Yes.
And you didn't invite me?
I didn't know you were a Risk fan.
Oh,
Me,
my dad's
me-
going to text me if he's still
Me,
watching.
Austin, and my dad were playing Risk.
I know what he would tell you. You know what he would tell you?
I don't know.
You'll never be a general. Have you ever heard that story?
No.
Oh, man. All-time great Bill Mays story. You got to ask my sister about that one. We were playing,
gosh.
I think, at the beach.
Trevor Lawrence was scrambling and then just dropped the ball. He just dropped it.
So we're at Wildwood Crest, New Jersey. The Berenhausens were with us because I think so. Someone else was with us because it was me, my dad, Corinne, and I want to say Brian and or Brent, or maybe both. maybe Bernie too. I don't know. A whole bunch of us were playing Risk, and I can't remember if Krim was on a team or if like everyone was individual, but you're forming alliances because you don't want to lose to, they didn't want to lose to me. Right. So like my dad and Krim were trying to like pinch me on the board or whatever. And my dad's trying to help Corinne and be like, you need to do this. And Corinne's like, no, I want to do this. And he's like, he like gets huffy and throws his arms up. He's like, you'll never be a general. Classic. Brian and Brent laugh about it all the time. It comes up
gosh.
all the time. It was great. And that was, that was 25 years ago, probably.
That's awesome.
Late 90s. Fantastic, great Risk story. But that's one of those games.
Yes, 25 years ago, the late 90s.
The late 90s. That's one of those games that takes so long to set up.
Yeah, it took a long time
to play.
It actually, our game today went fairly quick because I just dominated that much.
Oh,
but,
did you?
Yeah.
Who are you playing against?
My dad in Austin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you ever play Axis and Allies?
I have not.
Talk about not funny. What do you mean not funny? That was incredibly funny. That's one of the best stories out there. Texting me not funny. It's a great story. He'll never be a general. Axis and Allies is great, but my cousin Nick and I played once 6 hours and weren't even like halfway through.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting game. It's really cool though because you got pieces that are like the planes and the ships.
Oh yes. I know what you mean now. Yeah. I've seen it. I've never played it though.
Really great. It's one of those that I would never be able to get Kelly and the girls to play. I doubt they play Risk. Although I have Star Wars Risk upstairs.
Well, you know what else I got? On the trip to Indianapolis while we were sitting in the airport, we played Pass and Play Risk on my phone. So like Austin like got an idea of how it worked on my phone. So like that was that
introductory.
Kind of, and it's super quick.
Faster, yeah. That Risk is great. I don't think I could ever get Kelly and the girls to play it, but that's one of those. I'm not even joking when you see the meme come up all the time where you see like the three old guys in a sleeping bag watching football and having pizza and they're like having a sleepover. I'm like, I'm not joking when I say like we got to do that some weekend. We'll play Risk. We'll play Mario Kart. We'll watch either some sporting event or some movie. And stay up till 2:00, not be able to, we'd have to do it Friday into Saturday, so all of our old bodies can recover by Sunday. But for being up till 2 a.m. or whatever, it's just if I said that to the group right now, Pat would be like, "I'm in."
Right, he'd be like, "Let me know."
Just let me pick a date. So, not to jump around more, but I'm going back to the Bengals game because I wanted to say this and forgot. That T. Higgins catch was absurd.
Insane. And not like sometimes you see an insane catch or an insane play that's honestly inconsequential. That was a game tying touchdown.
Yeah, with what, like a minute left?
Yeah, like that. And just like all that went into that was amazing. It once again, and I know it's not that simple, but I just think back to if the DB had the wherewithal to just shove, like when he jumps for the ball, like almost pick him up, like keep him in the air and drop him out of bounds. There's so many times where that's on the sideline where the DB tries to make a play on the ball, and I get it. But I'm like, if they just focus on the guy and hit them while they're up for the ball, and they're not coming down in bounds, and
right.
But what a play by T. Higgins. And maybe a season-saving catch for them.
Yeah, we'll see. It was crazy.
But early in that game, I thought, Cinderella story for Browning's over. They couldn't do anything.
Well, yeah, it looked like it was going to be Mullins.
So, and then he turned the ball over in the red zone multiple times.
Yeah, it wasn't great. Also not great, the Falcons in Carolina today.
They were
the Panthers.
Awful. You can get into that game for $4.
45 cents I saw on something. Now, that probably didn't include fees.
I was going to say it'd still be like $35 in fees,
right,
probably.
Yeah, no, because I've looked up on the Game Time app for some things, and I'm like, the tickets, like, I might be able to, like, swing that. But then you go, it, like, doubles the price.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's ridiculous.
It's insane.
So, Falcons-Panthers, no one wanted to watch it. Watching it on TV also wasn't enjoyable. 7-9 final, but Carolina wins. And I'm laughing when I give the girls my phone to make their weekly picks. They immediately always pick against Carolina because they can see, you see the record. I'm like, you can't always use that as a determining factor. It helps, but it's not, be all and all. But they always turn to me and they smile and they giggle and they go, Carolina sucks. And I'm like, yeah. But I told them today, I was like, Carolina won today. They're like, no. I'm like, yeah, they did. 9-7 over the Falcons. That's a bad loss for Atlanta. Another bad loss. Packers at home to Tampa Bay. Battle of the Bays.
Which makes the Atlanta loss worse because they were 3 teams tied at 6-7 there.
And now Tampa Bay and New Orleans and Carolina won. Carolina doesn't matter. They've already been mathematically eliminated.
And their pick isn't theirs.
You've lost ground now to Tampa Bay and New Orleans. Falcons have an uphill battle with 3 weeks to go. But Green Bay losing to Tampa. Green Bay just like a month ago was Green Bay's back. Now they lost to the Giants and the Bucks back-to-back weeks.
Again, that Giants loss looks worse today too, just the way they look.
Yeah, because the Giants did not look good. The other New York team not great either.
They looked awful.
Honestly, I was very anxious for this game for the Dolphins because you're coming off an emotional letdown where you were humiliated and embarrassed on Monday night.
And the Jets looked competent last week.
The Jets looked actually like a football team last week. You were playing without Tyreek Hill and 4 of your offensive linemen, which is what they played most of the Tennessee game without 4 of their offensive linemen. I guess this week it would have been 3 though, because Teron Armstead came back this week and Austin Jackson was still in there. So you're only down 3 interior offensive linemen this week, but you didn't have Tyreek Hill.
The best receiver in the league.
I was very. I was like, this is a game that could prove that the Dolphins were a fraud this year, because you can't blow it to Tennessee and then turn around and then lose a close game to the Jets or something, or get blown out by the Jets or something. But they seem to have responded well. They made the Jets look like the Jets have for most of the year.
I feel like
the Jets
for the
beat
Jets,
the Bills and the
Eagles,
Eagles.
if you can jump up on them early, like they know they don't have what it takes to come back.
Well,
but if you play a sloppy game and let them hang around, then you find yourself in a dogfight. But Dolphins handled their business.
The
today.
Dolphins
more
defense
than handled their business.
unloaded on Zach Wilson and Trevor Siemian, absolutely flying around.
So here you go. I know this might be ridiculous. Is Salah's job safe?
I feel like
I think it is
because of the Rodgers situation,
yeah.
like the injury at the very, literally not even a partial game, 4 snaps or whatever it was, and with all the other dysfunction surrounding the players, I don't think. I mean, unless they get embarrassed for 3 more weeks, then maybe. If they get shut out for 3 more weeks and it just looks bad and the players aren't responding, then maybe they think about changing. But it's also honestly, it probably comes down to, does Aaron Rodgers like Robert Saleh?
No, that's 100% what it comes down to.
So we'll see what happens.
Which
there.
he has to, because he wouldn't have gone there unless he is
Do you
inside.
think he plays next week?
So I was going to say no, he'd be stupid to play next week. But then I caught myself, because if there's anyone who's more full of themselves, I'm not sure I know who it is. And Aaron Rodgers is very good. He's very good. It would only be selfish reasons, right? It would only
Just
be
to prove that he could do it.
Right, because it's not the smart move. The smart move is for him to not play until this offseason.
They cannot make the playoffs.
No, they were
have been
eliminated today.
What are you trying to prove?
And what if he gets hurt again? What if he gets hurt again?
Well, if I'm the Jets, I'm saying, I appreciate that you want to do it.
Right.
But for the future of this team.
And honestly, and this may be ridiculous, and people might be like, that's stupid. You want to take the first team snaps, in practice? Okay. We'll even let you practice so you can get some reps and you can get out there. You want to do that, that's fine. You're not going out there in a game. You're not going out there in a game.
What I feel like that's something I would have to look up. What are the odds of tearing the Achilles again, or is it one of those things where that one's fixed, but the other one is now more?
Well, I feel
tear?
like, especially the surgery he had, I feel like it's reinforced.
Right? Because I saw a video of it, kind of gross.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's
wild.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens there.
The wonders of medical technology.
He wouldn't know anything about it, though.
No.
Only when they are being done on him, but he'll ignore everything else. So the Chiefs beat the Patriots 27-17. Taylor Swift in the house. cheering on Travis Kelce.
How about they took the knee on 4th and goal at the end of the game, right? They won by 10. The spread was 10.5. But they didn't want to risk getting the field goal blocked. I think. And
right. Yeah. We talked about this. Well, no, we didn't talk about this. 2 overtime games in Week 15 action. First one was on Saturday. It was a good game. This one was not a great game. Titans blew it, though, to the Texans. So basically what they did to Miami last week, the Texans did to them here. Yeah. This one going to overtime. Houston comes back for a walk-off win, 19-16 in overtime with no time left. It could have been the first tie we got this year, which I'm so glad didn't happen. I hate when there are ties.
I agree.
So does Donovan McNabb. Texans 19 over the
Titans. 2/3 of a win, baby.
And it's kind of like a crazy story. D'Amico Ryans has to be coach of the year, right? Like if they make the playoffs,
if they make,
they're 8-6.
Honestly, so
they can still win the division.
So let's look through it. I put him. No one in the NFC East. Not that no one's worthy of it, but like AFC East, same.
Oh, these 2 teams play again in 2 weeks.
Like McDaniels has had a great one, and if they were to go on and get the 1 seed, I could see him getting some votes. But D'Amico Ryans, you have to like if they continue and they like are in the hunt for the playoffs. They were awful. They were awful.
They were the second worst team last year to Chicago, right? Yeah, because Carolina traded up for Bryce Young. And then Houston took C.J. Stroud and traded up for Will Anderson. Both picks looking phenomenal.
Yeah.
So they have 3 winnable games. Not easy.
And they got ripped for the Derek Stingley Jr. pick.
Oh, and he's looking pretty
before,
good
and
too.
He's doing well. I know he's not. Did they take him ahead of Sauce Gardner, I think?
Yeah.
Which Sauce Gardner has been great. But, like, they were like, Derek Stingley's... People would have made you think he was terrible. No. He's doing quite all right.
So the Texans host the Browns next Sunday. They then host the Titans on New Year's Eve. And then they go to Indianapolis. 3 winnable games. Not easy. And if Stroud's able to come back for 2, if not all 3 of them... This is a 10-7 team. Could be an 11-6 team. Could also be an 8-9 team. Couldn't put it past a team that's overachieving like this to falter down the stretch.
But still, even at 8-9.
Yeah, well, people thought this team was going to win 3 games.
A team, right. They ruined a lot of people's survivor pools week 1.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They beat the Jaguars, right?
Right.
Did they beat the Jags both times?
I think no.
No, Jags won by.
They had a chance.
Yeah.
Right. They had a chance, but they didn't get it done.
Yeah.
Because then they would have the tiebreakers with the Jags still.
Yeah, Texans had a weird.
They're a team that's learning to win. They were awful last year though. So the fact that they're even in it.
No, Texans didn't beat the Jags week 1. Texans beat the Jags week 3.
Oh, okay.
Texans lost to the Ravens week 1, lost to the Colts week 2. So they started off the way everyone thought. So they're 8-4 in their last 12 then.
Yeah. Well, how about this?
They smoked the Jaguars in week 3, then smoked the Steelers in week 4, and then this one they lost to the Falcons by 2.
Yeah. So here you go. This is one though.
Lost to the Panthers by 2.
Another team where I'm just like, oh, how good the Ravens. Like I'm like, oh, how good are the Ravens? All this stuff. They're 7-1 over their last 8. Like I was like, wait, what? Like to me it feels like they're much more up and down than that, but.
All right, let's blow through these last few games. So Texans beat the Titans in overtime 19-16. 49ers handled the Cardinals today 45-29. Travarius Ward caught 2 touchdowns from Kyler Murray.
Yeah, Kyler Murray
2 interceptions.
Bad.
I don't know if they were both touchdowns. Kyler Murray did look look great today. Rams win again.
Yeah, which is good. I need the Rams to keep winning because their Week 18 game is a big one for me.
28
Hopefully,
to 20
I hope it's a big one
over
for me.
Washington. They're looking bad. We kind of talked about Buffalo at the beginning, not really so much Dallas Buffalo, but I think that's the case of Dallas playing the worst game possible, at least since the San Francisco game.
Yeah. Well, they played on the road. Bad weather.
Both bad losses on the road. This one in bad weather. Dallas is obviously, like a lot of teams, are different teams when they're on the road versus home. The weather doesn't help. Buffalo played, though, nearly flawless game. Kudos to the Bills for winning this game.
Oh, absolutely. They did what they had to do.
Dallas now needs to respond. See, this is the situation that I always hate. This is what happened to the Eagles when they were embarrassed by the Jets. Should never have lost that game. Turned around and hosted who?
Hey,
the Dolphins.
Merry Christmas, my friend.
Christmas Eve, a week later, the Bills get embarrassed by the Cowboys. Who do they play next week? The Dolphins. This pisses me off twice. Both of you guys, Eagles, Cowboys, what are you doing? What are you doing? How can you lose in that fashion the week before you play the Dolphins? It's now a huge game for both teams because of Dallas choking to the Bills today.
Yeah.
It made the Dolphins game very important for Miami, and now it's really important for Dallas.
How that Eagles game goes tomorrow is it was huge anyway, but it's really big because Eagles could reclaim the division,
right?
And hang with San Francisco for. The Eagles would be the 2 seed right now. San Francisco has the tiebreaker over the Eagles and over Dallas. But they have to play the Ravens yet, and they have to play the Rams yet. Whereas the Eagles finish with Giants, Cardinals, Giants.
After Monday, Eagles' schedule is fairly easy, straightforward.
Right.
Dallas is tougher.
Now, the way the Eagles have been playing, I don't know that it they need to turn it around.
Questionable health for Jalen Hurts.
Yes.
And Darius Slay is out. So
right,
they're down a few guys and could be down more.
So just real quickly for the Eagles, here's the thing. I want, and I know this is getting kind of greedy, I want their playoff situation to be determined before week 18. Almost independent of where they end up. Whether that is the one, whether that is, which I don't think they'd have the one locked up by week 18. But they could be in a spot where they win and they're in, but I don't think they'd have it clinched. That would mean the Niners and Cowboys both fall off drastically. But whether they are the division winner or not is huge. However, now don't get me wrong. In the long run, I don't think it would necessarily be better. But for the first week, if they were to not win the division and be the 5 seed, they'd be on the road at Tampa or on the road at Atlanta or on the road at New Orleans. Not that you want to go on the road to those places.
Not a terrible situation. See,
versus being home against potentially the Rams, who have been turning it on, or there's a potential where that 7th seed may be better than the 4 seed. Is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
That being said, I'd rather have my game at home and delay the potential matchup against the Niners for another week. But yeah,
I feel that that's one of those things though that will come back to bite you, because we saw it for how many, every time seed 4 is the division winner that everyone looks like a clown. They're 8-9 or 9-8 or
right.
At times we're
and honestly, of those, the
7-9.
place I would want to go the least, I think, is New Orleans, just because weird things happen in that dome, man.
Yeah,
weird things happen in that dome.
Well, was it Dallas had to go to Seattle one year when Seattle was 7-9 or 8-8 or something? They lost.
Right.
That wasn't the same year that
now,
Romo botched the.
I think it was separate. I think that was separate. But there were, if you look at some other stuff, I think if you have a chance for that 1 seed, that's obviously different. That's the one you want. But
teams in baseball tell me you don't want to buy. Baseball teams say it's not okay. It's not good to have a buy.
Right. It takes all your momentum, right?
Unless you're the Astros, then it's okay to have the buy because they seem to have no problem.
Right.
By and large.
Right.
So we'll see what happens there. Ravens just scored to go up 9-0. They're kicking the extra point right now. Very close to halftime. Jaguars need to respond. Speaking of the playoffs, in the NFC, it's whoever the 5 seed wants to play the 4 seed. In the AFC, the same can be said, but we don't know who that 4 seed will be. It'll probably be the South team.
Yeah, it's probably going to be
Jacksonville, Houston, or Indianapolis. I think all 3 of them. Because if Jacksonville loses tonight, are they 8-7?
I think so. But just think, if it happens to be Houston, going into that dome, like that'll be a raucous environment.
That's
Do you remember,
I don't-
remember when Houston was good and like that crowd was insane down there?
Yeah, it's not something. That's why I'm like, God, I need Miami to win the division to make Buffalo go to that. I want Buffalo if they end up like winning all their games, but the one against.
Well, and
Miami.
I don't feel bad. I was going to say I feel bad, but like I don't feel bad. Like I need the Ravens to beat the Niners. Like I need.
When do they play? Next week.
I feel like they might play in 2 weeks.
No, that's when Miami plays Buffalo or Miami plays Baltimore.
Oh, okay, then maybe it is next
Probably
week.
is next week then.
I think.
I think it is.
Come on,
Baltimore,
Ravens.
San Francisco, Miami, Dallas,
But look at that Ravens schedule. They've got Jacksonville, and then
Jacksonville, San Francisco, Miami, and then they probably finish with
probably-
like Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, or Cleveland.
I think they played Pittsburgh twice. I think.
So then either Cincinnati or Cleveland. Both of those teams will be fighting for a playoff spot too.
Yeah. Yeah, but now, yeah. But that game against Miami then is huge
Yeah.
because that could be for that 1 seed.
So the game for Miami, the game against Dallas is probably the least important of their final three.
False.
Because it's intra-conference. Because it doesn't
No,
hold as
exactly.
much weight as beating
Well,
a conference team
and
or a
that's
division
why
team.
that's why even though the Eagles were in second place in the division not right now, but coming into today, if they won out, because all of their remaining games are NFC games and they have a couple divisional games left there, like they would end up winning the division because of that loss to the Jets, whereas the Cowboys' losses before today were all in the NFC.
So there would be no better feeling than to wear Victory Monday on Christmas Day. That would feel good. Sorry, Dad, but this is what I want.
You're not sorry.
This is what I want. I want Baltimore to. I don't want them to win tonight. I'd rather them lose to Jacksonville. But they win tonight. I want them to go to San Francisco and win that game.
We're on board. We're on board here.
Because then I want them to come to Miami and Miami beat them.
Okay.
That would feel
okay.
good. Because then
So-
you have the tiebreaker.
Well, so here's the other thing. I was like, look, and I've said this to you. I've been saying this to you for months now. Eagles need to beat the Cowboys and the Niners the last time they play. And don't get me wrong, I want the Eagles to get the 1 seed. I don't know that there would be anything sweeter than the Eagles beating the
San Francisco
Niners
in
in the
San
NFC
Francisco.
Championship game in San Francisco. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Oh my gosh. Just think of all the excuses we'd hear over the next couple months after that. Oh my gosh. It would be amazing.
So
It's like what I want to happen.
I just want Miami to win. That's all I want.
Right.
But would it make it feel awesome if they made the playoffs, even still won the division, but lost to Buffalo the last week, but then beat Buffalo in the playoffs?
We've had this discussion how many times? Win the last time, right?
That's all that matters.
Win the last time.
Are we still playing? Oh,
Right.
we beat you twice in the regular season. Don't think it matters.
yeah.
Because you guys are going home.
Right.
We're still playing.
Right.
So in the end, like what we've been saying.
Well, like when the Eagles won the
January
Super Bowl.
matters.
When the Eagles won the Super Bowl, did they lose bad? Or maybe it could have been last year. Last year when they got beat by Dallas the second time they played.
No, on Christmas Eve.
Right. They got smoked last year. But they went on to the Super Bowl. Now, they didn't win the Super Bowl, but they, that was fine.
That stuff doesn't matter. If it ends someone's season or someone's season ends before yours, and I'm not talking like they played the early game and you played the late game. I'm talking about like
Right, we're
conference
both done
champion-
week
yeah.
18. It's
Yeah,
just like
well, who cares? Yeah. So here's one as we finish up here. Greg texted me.
okay.
He's hanging on against Adam in my family friends fantasy league. Adam is done 101.5. Greg 104.5. Playing with the Baltimore defense right now. So he has 3 points.
He's a 3-point
He has
lead.
a 3-point lead, but he will lose on tiebreaker bench points too. So he has a 2.5 point.
And they have a shutout right now.
But they have
So,
a
like,
shutout right now. So
And they just committed pass interference.
He needs the Ravens to keep the Jaguars to like 3 or less points,
or score a touchdown,
have a touchdown or a block and fumble more. Like he needs the Baltimore defense to stay at
Oh
this point.
my
area.
gosh.
I, for one, want Greg to win. You are destroying Jason. Jason had a terrible week. That sucks for him. Say Amy too. Amy only had one person in double digits, and that was Jacoby Myers on Thursday.
I told you in the family one.
In her defense, she had no one that would.
My
helped her.
4 highest scorers are on my bench in my family league. Again, rosters in that one are a little stacked because just very few teams. But
yeah. So, well, I think that's it. Anything to add from you, Justin? We won't be back till January 7th.
no, yeah. Merry
Crazy.
Christmas, Happy New Year.
Yeah. Crazy that all this stuff will be over by the time we come back. And we'll be recapping Week 18. We'll know division champs and playoff scenarios.
Eagles clinched the playoff spot today. So did the Cowboys.
So yeah, and San Francisco goes in.
Yeah.
So we know they're starting to come into shape.
Yeah.
So we'll see what
these
happens.
next man.
Oh, here we go.
This weekend's going to be huge for football.
We've been giving him crap on that, so I'll let him get in the last word. My uncle text sounds like a Patriots thing over the past 20 years, winning at the end. Yeah. I don't have much to say to that. I am very curious, and this is not meant as a dig. I want to see if my dad ends up being right and saying they're going to go 5-12, because are they
Not good for Greg, as they just completed a pass inside the 5.
Are they 3-10? Where are we at? 3-12?
We're in week 15.
So
he just got tackled inbounds. They're going to run out of time. They didn't spike it, and they're going to run out of time. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I like the not spiking it. Running the play. You got to throw the ball into the end zone. What are you doing?
3-11. They're 3-11. Right, the Patriots 3-11. 3-11 with 3 games to go. And one of them is against Buffalo. In Buffalo.
You want them to win that one, don't you?
I do want him to win that one. I do. I just think back to when we were doing the thing, and I thought my uncle was going to have a heart attack as he's texting me. 5 wins. 5 wins.
Man, that's all. We could do a show on what do you think is going to happen there, man.
We could do an entire show. We'll see what happens there. But we're going long here, so I want to wrap things up.
Yep.
So thanks, Justin, for joining us and for joining me, I should say. And closing out episode 389, I will say happy birthday to my dad on Tuesday. And I'll say happy birthday to 2 of my cousin's children sharing my birthday. So Gabby and Ansley celebrating.
And
so.
Happy birthday to you coming out.
Thanks.
Love those fall birthdays.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I do, 100%. And happy birthday also to Christine, my cousin who celebrates on Christmas Day. So
Adam chiming in on his Trevor Lawrence is going to cost me my matchup against Greg.
See, Uncle Rich knows. They're 3-11. I knew you'd know. But all right, so that's it for this long meandering and really random tangents talking about risk and things. But that's what this show's about, just having fun. We'll be back in 3 Sundays, January 7th, 2024.
2024.
And we'll recap Week 18 and look forward to the playoffs, which it's not clinched yet, but Miami's looking good to make it, which is thank God. And they need to get a win, though, because it hasn't happened in
I agree. Well,
3 years.
let's start with winning this week.
23
Start by
years.
winning this week. That would be great.
Please just make the play. Winning the division would be sweet, being in that top 4. But if you get to the playoffs, just win a game, please.
I got you, man.
It's literally 2000. 2000 was the last time they won a playoff game.
It's wild.
I think it was against the Colts, and it might have been in overtime. Jay Fiedler, baby.
Wow.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah, and have a great holiday. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. And we'll see you again in 3 weeks. Thanks for listening.
That's a wrap on this episode of the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show, brought to you by Mays Sandwich Shop. You can watch each weekly episode live on Facebook, Periscope, or YouTube. Be sure to like, follow, or subscribe to the show on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, and Google Play. You can also rate and review us on many of these platforms as well. We'd love to hear from you. Send your emails to the Mays Sandwich Shop inbox at joemaysandjraff@gmail.com. The Joe Mays and J-Raff Show is a part of the JMNJR Radio Network, home to other productions such as The Bulldog Hour, Tangents with Friends, and Nat Chats with Dad. Until next time.